ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वाम् अनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनम् देवकी परमानन्दम् कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्। My namaskars to you all who are listening to this talk on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We are in the 6th chapter, and in the last class we have seen the verses number up to verse number 34, where Arjuna cites his doubt and raises a question. He makes a statement that the yoga which is taught by Bhagavan, yo ayam, this yoga, ayam yoga, this yoga, which you have taught or said, proktah, tvaya proktah, said by you, in the form of this equanimity, samena. I do not see its steadiness or its stability, or it will find roots. That meaning that he will attain success. Aham na pashyami, I do not see its steadiness due to the restlessness, chanchalatvat, restlessness of the mind. And he says that indeed this mind is very restless, chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramathi, it is turbulent, balavat, it is powerful, dridham, that it is unyielding. So, and controlling it, disciplining it, is like disciplining, is as difficult as disciplining the wind itself, air itself. Vayoriva sudushkaram. So this is what Arjuna had said to Bhagavan. And so to say, this is our eternal problem. The people who take to spiritual life, the practice, the sadhana of spiritual life, they realize this, very much, very conspicuously. Otherwise also, this is our constant experience. But with contrast to spiritual life, in outside world, we are generally trying to compensate to this restlessness of the mind. Not only that, we are trying to configure, remodel our way of living to suit it, to entertain that mind which is very restless. Now, in these modern times, you will see so many ways of entertaining our mind. They are catering to this idea, this restlessness, this your very small span of attention of this mind. It is very small. It cannot be hold steady, chanchala. So it is chala. It is all the time in motion, chanchala. And what we are given, in what way we can entertain this mind? So it is fed through such kind of experiences where it will create a kind of rhythm for it, like in music, kind of routine for it, in different kinds of work and repetitions, engaging mind through different sense experiences, creating a multiple sense experience. What you see, that also you smell, that also there is a sound, and that also you can taste. Engaging your mind in multifarious data. What happens when it is scattered so superficially? This mind all the more become fragile, and it loses its ability, its power to go into the depth of thing, to pursue something doggedly, undauntedly. And this is the very crux of building some character of the mind, as well as making it eligible, qualifying for higher pleasures. Of higher pleasures. These things are gross and crude, how they are fed all the time. And there is no dearth of it. Everywhere, right from your education system to your entertainment industry, and so many things which will satisfy you immediately. Where you does not have to, and see from your films, so see from them is games the children plays. So this is how mind is being, it is restless, and it is been this, our life is now remodeled in such a way that it finds entertainment in it, it suits to his restless character. What is happening? It is all the time. So it all the time, it is a fraction of second. I gave one example. So long back, one video I had seen. There was small Labrador puppy, maybe of 45 days or 2 months, that owner has, brought. And that small puppy, that maybe some 15 feet away. Okay. And his owner is calling him in their patio or their garden, that kind of that a small video of 1 minute maybe, that I saw. Owner is calling the puppy, and puppy is excited as soon as he hears his name, and immediately it want to go, but taking 2 steps, he smells something, he looked in that direction. Here again, taking 2 more steps, he sees some ball, he tried to fondle that ball, push this way, that way. Then again he will pick up stick. In that 15 feet distance, he has a dozen distractions. That video was cute. Our state of mind is exactly that, and which we do not feel cute. That is horrible. We cannot hold our mind steady for any longer. Everywhere. News also comes in bits. Because no in-depth analysis of the situation people will read. Everything has been tended superficially, that you do not have to exercise your mind mental faculties, and that is highly dangerous. But world is like that. If we are into it and we are constantly living on such stuff, then it is highly degenerating for our mind, our life altogether. I cited this one example with respect to this, that there is a method of irrigation which is called as drip irrigation. In that drip irrigation, what happens? So where there is a lot of scarcity of water, alright, so every drop of water must be, which goes into the soil, must be consumed by the plant, whatever crop you want to grow. So that would be the maximum utilization of the water, every drop of water. And so the crop is grown. Now, if they are vegetable crops, it is alright, because their roots does not go beyond, say, 15 centimeter or 30 centimeter or so. They does not go much large. They are short-lived crop of maybe right from 45 days to 3 months. Okay. So for that, growing such crop, if you do not have, you have scarcity of water, you can use a controlled environment, and you can use drip irrigation, that how much water is to be given to the plant, and you are giving it by the means of drip. So there are pipelines are laid, and there are small nozzles which controls the flow of water, that after how many seconds a drop will fall at the roots of the plant. So lines of those pipes are laid, and to each near each plant there is the nozzle. So accordingly, the length of the distance between the nozzle and the distance between the plants, that is planned, and that's how crops are sown, and that's how this agriculture is done, drip irrigation. Now, so it is not problematic, it is a boon, it saves water, and at very little water this agriculture could be done, a harvest could be reaped. Now, but if this is tried, suppose you want to grow an orchard, and these trees, before they bear fruits, they have to become 5-6 years old. Their roots goes much deeper, several meters, before they garner strength in their stem, because once it starts bearing fruit, the weight on the plant is so much that it has to be supported by other equipments, like different bamboos or sticks. The support, so much would be the weight of the fruits on those plants. Suppose an orange orchard. Now, if in their initial stages a farmer who is going to grow that orchard uses drip irrigation, so water is put superficially from the surface, and before only the soil, 1 feet soil near the roots of the plant, that is only wet, water is not dripping going down. Now trees have tendency, that tree has the tendency to grow deeper, but in depth there is no water. Water is present only in the superficial layer of the soil. What is the tragedy? What is the disaster here? that plant does not grow deeper roots. This is exactly with our mind. Being hooked on superficial pleasures has the great disadvantage that we cannot develop the ability of our mind to go deeper. We cannot sustain if somebody is talking something very analytical. We have lost the strength of our brain. You can imagine. That is very evident. In this Gita class, I see nobody here. Let it be nice dance, food, and like carnival like thing. You will not be able to entertain people. That many people would be there. That's true. This is the disadvantage. Now, everywhere, this question came before me because Swami's monks of the Ramakrishna order, they are often called to different college institutes, and through different programs also we also craft lot of programs. We also design lot of programs keeping youths in the mind, students in the mind. So at one place there was this discussion that how to make education or the way of delivering education, information, that could be more engaging to the children. Engaging, that is the important word, the conspicuous salient word, engaging. What is meant by that? That their experiences has to be made more sense immersive experience. Have you heard this word? Many times on our TVs or this one audio equipments, which are audio speakers, this word comes, immersive. And sometimes you read that description, 2D, 4D, 6D, 8D, in 8 dimension. That is the meaning. So that is a way of speaking. It does not mean that. So it only says that 8 dimension, it is in the sense of 8 sides. You are completely surrounded by. That's why surround sound system, these ideas come. Immersive experience. So what would be? So students are, instead of giving suppose lectures or taught from the textbook, they also have pictures. Not only pictures, which is in 2 dimension, they have 3D models, and they can actually handle the things. They can see actually in the world, and in this way they are taught more engaging. What? Engaging their senses, engaging their mind through senses. Because chanchalatvat etasyaham na pashyami chanchalatvat sthitim sthiram. This is the condition, as said by Arjuna. He does not see the stability of the mind. That this knowledge will get rooted, find its root in our mind. Now, this is the thing, more engaging experience. Then I said, I do not agree with this idea. We are doing exactly opposite. We having more engaging experience of learning is debilitating and degenerating. It will not create any talent. It will not only, it is making them mediocre, it is bringing them down. They were surprised to hear that. Teachers were. I said, see, earlier Indians were had developed writing system. You know why? Why it was so? It was not that it could not be done. When Upanishads were discovered, they were only to be heard. That's why they were called as Shrutis. They were only be heard from their preceptor. chanted and thus memorized and then taken forward to the next generation. Why it was so? Whether they had not discovered any writing material or writing script, that is not the thing. In that system, it is not to be written on the when a lame pretext is made forward that it is to be considered holy. That's why it is not to be embodied in any form. That is a lame pretext. What is the truth? Because they only wanted it to be carried forward by the brightest and capable mind. So by that way they filter every ordinary and mediocre fellow. If you have that kind of capacity of learning, memorizing accurately, then only you get that. That was the standard of the society. You get that you become the disciple of that lineage of learning. You inherit that from your preceptor, from your teacher. Only you have that kind of capacity. And people had that kind of capacity. Various knowledge, it was just at the tip of their tongue. So much data was crammed inside their cranium. They could utilize it, they could meditate upon it, they didn't have to carry textbooks. Books, now in digitized form, everything we have to search, everything we have to take some help of some calculator or a mobile phone or something. Nothing we can remember, nothing we can our ability to limit, to exercise our mind has become so limited just in suppose 100 years. 100 years before, your own forefathers, they used to able to calculate or recite the tables of a quarter, a half, 3 quarters, 1.5, etc., etc. These kinds of difficult tables they could easily recite. It was on the tip of their tongue. We have not progressed, we have degenerated. That this we must understand. Intellectually, emotionally, psychologically, yes, in every way, we are the degenerated version. Our world probably might have been this advanced, but at the cost of us. That is the truth. Now, this is the state of the mind. This is everywhere it is placed. And this idea, you see, it is not only related to study or education. It therefore relates to every other aspect of our life. In general, what we say, the happiness. The content of our life, the quality of our life. That, अच्छा विजय, यहाँ पे कोई तो भी मतलब बैठ के कोई मोबाइल चला रहा है शायद, उसको थोड़ा बोलना तो। यहाँ पे कुर्सी, यहाँ पे बैठते हैं ना बहुत सारे लोग, देखना जरा। That losing this strength of the mind, losing this ability to go deeper, to sustain its concentration, ability to concentrate, being able to have higher pleasures, higher than material and sensory. What pleasures we have? Something higher in our life. See for yourself. Almost all of us will come with zero answers. We do not have non-material higher pleasures in our life, which are more intensive, more pervading. They sustain over a longer period of time. They build the character. This pleasure sustains the idea of higher life, sacrificing smaller things. If you do not have something higher, how can you sacrifice the lower? And that's why our attachment, our greed, and all these panorama of vices, small, petty vices, everywhere filled in our life, characterizing our life, our individualities. This, at the root of this is chanchalatvat sthitim sthiram. How easily we are discouraged. How you see these kinds of idea that psychological disorder, depressions, when they were in so much vogue in US like countries, in our countries there was no name of it. We were fit and fine. But it is not today. This is the actual experience. This is not joke. People are actually getting depressed, not able to handle themselves. Stress of the life situations. Everywhere you get bored. Everything is provided in a much more better way in your life. Has it increased your happiness? You see. By depending upon these things, on the material resources, we have lost our ability to be independent of them. You are not consuming them, they have consumed you. These words comes in Upanishad. Addate atti. That you are not consuming them, they are consuming you. So much sensitivity you see in today's teenagers. Their own parents are find it hard, difficult to talk to them. You remember your childhood, whether it was like that. So these are the different life situation, in a work situation, in everywhere. Everybody is so easily offended. It was first 6 days a week and one was holiday, then it becomes 5 days a week, it is the norm. Now they are thinking about 4 days a week and some people are talking about 3 days a week. What kind of ideas do you think without working that somebody else is going to pay for it? You are thinking that you will have pleasures and no work. You are very mistaken if you think so. About our attitude toward work, world, and life in general. And we see the miseries of it, they tend to be found in this one idea, indisciplined mind. It has this one root, undisciplined mind. So this is the age-old drama, age-old misery. Here Arjuna is citing that reason in the context of attaining these heights of the yoga which Bhagavan Sri Krishna was propounding here. What kind of heights could be attained? And then Arjuna gets skeptical that whether it will be possible. Arjuna is the kind of person who has attained that such a high degree of concentration of the mind. That stories we remember every time we quote those stories, that he, when along with other disciples of Dronacharya, they were aiming at a mock bird to shoot at by their bow and arrows. And Dronacharya is asking everyone, what do you see? So somebody is so many things. Somebody is saying bird, somebody is saying the tree and the bird, and somebody is saying that he is seeing his guru also, and he is seeing everything else, and so many other things. Arjuna is the only person, he was saying that I see nothing more than the eye of the bird. And Dronacharya said, then shoot. And bang on, then he hits the bird in the eye. So, Arjuna is a very accomplished person, and for such accomplishment, there is a lot of mental discipline one must go through and acquire such virtues to master anything, to achieve excellence in any way in life, and especially in such combat course. It would be no joke. If you fail, you lose your head. So you do mistake at the cost of your own life. So you cannot attempt to do mistake. These are not sports. So you can imagine. So Arjuna is already an accomplished person, and then he cites this doubt whether it would be possible by me to hold my mind so high. And in today's context, what we see means we stand nowhere at any level in comparison to Arjuna. Most of us, or many of us, I would say, not some very a few people who had achieved this kind of excellence in their life, in their different fields. So, now it is to be seen how Bhagwan is responding to that query, to that eternal question about disciplining the mind. What is the secret of it? What Bhagwan is saying? So, Shri Bhagwana Uvacha. Sri Bhagwan said that Asanshayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena Tukaunteya Vairagyena Cha Gruhyate. So this is the great verse. Bhagwan Sri Krishna has said, this is the great truth of this. The crux, the rock bottom truth of this practice of discipline of mind. People try to put it in various sugar-coated ways, various paraphernalia, but as I have tried to understand and see, there lies nothing no more than that. What Bhagwan has said in 2 words. What did he respond? What did he say? Asamshayam. That, of course, there is no doubt. That is the thing. There is no sanshaya. There is no doubt. Mahabaho, he said, the mighty arm one. He is reminding Arjuna of his great stature. That you are not an ordinary person, Arjuna. You are Mahabahu. Mahabaho. In Sambodhana. Mahabaho. Manaha. This mind. Dur nigraham. This du pratyaya. Du suffix. What does it denote? It denotes that dushkarena, like Duryodhana, like Durga Shabda is there. So Durga, dushkarena gamati, that it is very difficult to attain Durga. So like mother, which is to be very difficult to propitiate Durga. Not like Ashutosh, like Shankara, very easily propitiated. Durga is difficult. So Durga, Duryodhana. So Dushkarena Yodhana. So it will be very difficult to defeat him in the war. Duryodhana. Dushasana. Very difficult to discipline that person. Dushasana. Or Dushkara Shasana also. That whose rule is very bad. Not good. Not Sushasana. Dushasana. Dukkhamay Shasana. So, here word comes Dur Nigraham, whose Nigraha or control would be very difficult. Dur Nigraham and Chalam, in constant motion. It is restless. So, what does Bhagavan says in the first line, that He Mahabaho, O mighty arm one, that certainly there is no doubt that this mind is restless and very difficult to control, Durnigraham. And what does he say? How it is to be controlled? In the second line, he is saying, Abhyasena tu, but Abhyasena kaunteya vairagyena cha gruhyate. So, Abhyasena vairagyena cha. This is what he is saying, that Kaunteya, O the son of Kunti. So, Kunti is always symbolic of patience. She is also called as Pritha, or which is the name of the Prithvi, which is the embodiment of forbearance. And her son, that's why he calls him in this way, patience, Kaunteya. He Kaunteya, Abhyasena and Vairagyena, with the help of Abhyasa, the practice, and Vairagyena, by the renunciation, by the dispassion, this mind can be brought under control. Gruhyate, it can be brought under control. So these two words are there. And what is the practice? And dispassion. So easily translate, I use these words, I simply translate these things. So what Bhagavan is saying? Abhyasa, practice, means do repeatedly what you are supposed to do. Practice of what? Practice of positive things, what you have been asked to do. Practice of those things. Abhyasa. Vairagya from what? What not to do, what you are not supposed to do. Do not do those things which are not asked to do, or which would be detrimental, harming your interest or your objective in this case. Vairagyena, viraga, not to have raga or attachment or interest, attraction in those subjects, interest in those subjects, in those pursuits. So that will be viraga, raga, viparita, viraga, and from that viraga word comes the vairagya. So this raga is much deeper level, that ichha, vasana, or pull, attraction which you feel deeper inside your heart. To remove that, to get rid of that. So not only not doing it, actually rooting it out from the depth of your heart, not to experience any raga or any attraction towards it. Raga in colloquial languages like Hindi, Marathi, or even Bengali. Raga means what? Raga means krodh. Both gussa आया. Marathi also same raga. खूप राग आला त्याला. बहुत उसको गुस्सा आया. He was very angry. In Bengali also राग in the खूप राग व्हायच्यावर. उसको बहुत गुस्सा आया. That is not raga. Here raga is like what you say in anuraga. In that word, in the what sense raga use anuraga. So this raga, this deeper attraction, love, of pull you feel towards something, that is called as raga. Vairagya is without that. Being removed that raga from the heart is vairagya. You not only not do these, avoid those things, abhor this thing, detest this thing, that you do not feel any attraction or pull of it. You do not feel affected by it. That is the thing. Vairagya. So taking it to that level, winning our heart, taking our mind to that level, winning over those afflicted state of mind, being susceptible, being vulnerable to the attraction, to feel a desired, a temptation toward those things, anything. So these two things he have said, the practice, abhyasa, what you are supposed to do. And Vairagya. Now these two things, if we deliberate upon these ideas, as we see that the root of our misery, unhappy life lies in this indisciplined mind. So also the secret of happiness lies in two words. And a person can pretty much achieve whatever he wants in this life by these two words: Abhyasa and Vairagya. Abhyasa, the practice. We many a time, especially in student life or from our early teenage, or you can say pretty much since the child is conscious about itself. This story I might have told you earlier, that once a lady came to Aristotle and she said that, revered master, my child is now 5 years old, and I have come to you to ask that when would be its appropriate time to start his education, that he would be a noble citizen of Greece. So Aristotle just quipped in a short remark, and what did he say? He said, "You are already 5 years late." That lady said, "My son is 5 years old, and when should I start his education?" So Aristotle replied, "You are already 5 years late." And this is very true, very, very true. For many of parents, child and childbirth and having child in the family is a newfound entertainment. These parents, for their pleasure, destroy the child. They do not think it through. For their selfishness, for their own attachment, they kill that child. This is what happens. Abhyasa. Everybody can be taught in whatever little language he can say. There are only two things which drives human behavior. As long as they are not able to rise above it and think it through, then only these two things work. One is called as lobha, second is called as bhaya. One is positive, one is negative. In these binaries, most of the world runs. It can be taught in these two languages, lobh and bhai. Everybody can be taught. We do not have that perspective that it should be taught because I want to tender my, I do not want to disturb my tender affection. ये सब जो अच्छा मतलब nice drama चल रहा है, if it is affecting, even if it is affecting other members of the family, no, I do not want to. मेरा बच्चा. And we destroy one life. Due to our selfishness, due to our selfish attachments. So practice or disciplining. I had said this before that it was a government body which used to investigate into the study of children behavior and parenting and education. So it was their finding in America, in US, that a little deprivation is necessary to make the character of an individual, that child. That little deprivation is necessary, that he must be able to accept, accommodate that something is short. He must be able to, that he or she, that child, must be able to live, must be able to readjust, must be able to accommodate these things. He must be able to make sacrifices. Providing every demand is like just like that drip irrigation. You make the individual superficial. He loses his strength to go down deep into his heart, into his mind. That kind of child cannot develop a character. Because essentially at that time his psychological and intellectual self is to be developed. It is not developed at that point. So from a child to child it might be different. That is alright. But when that consciousness is coming, whether we are directing, where every child's capability might be different. That is also a point. But seeing that we thinking in this pattern to take that being, that human being forward from there? No. We are trying to protect, shield, cajole and deal with kid gloves and spoil that child. That's what we do. Abhyasa. This has to be started. This is not something which you do in a limited context. It is the framework of the mind. It is the aptitude of the mind to work your faculties. Abhyasa. Here now Diksha program is going on. All the time people are coming. I am taking their interviews. So I say these things to them, that if spiritual life something teaches you, it teaches you how to work. That is the important contribution it must bring. And from your work, we can understand how much you have understood of spirituality. Forget what you have gained. How much you have understood of spirituality, it will immediately reflect in your approach to work. A spiritual person can never be lethargic. That is the ultimate conclusion. It looks very contradictory, a yogi and karmi. Yes, that is the truth. And truths in its highest height, they are self-contradictory. They are because their contradiction merge into each other's. All the time such language is used by Upanishads. Abhyasa. It is not studying some book, it is the framework of mind. It is you take control of the inner faculties. You try to push yourself forward. You try to work with them. You are trying to see some faculties of other independent of yourself. That you are something and you are driving this. This is the sense. Can you push? Can you think yourself to push yourself little harder, little further than the last time? Abhyasa. This is many people, great savants and extraordinary people who has achieved this, extraordinary people of extraordinary memory or intellectual capacity. Forget about in any other field, like in suppose sport, where there is a physical practice, in athletic or any other thing. Even in psychological and wherever intellectual fields are there, extraordinary capacities, people who have developed, and they attributed it to their only hard work. Hard work. They say many gifted persons here, they have said this. That people, they often credit, like Winston Churchill or Abraham Lincoln, for example. Winston Churchill was said to have a very extraordinary memory. And he said that that people often attribute this greatness to his gift. He says, I have earned it through my hard work. It was not gifted to me. Our mind, our brain has extraordinary potential. We have to believe that we can at least forget about comparing ourselves to others. We can become extraordinary as compared to what we are. That's all. That would be satisfactory? I hope so. It would be. What I am, if my child supports, it becomes extraordinary as compared to me. I would say I am much happier, satisfied. All right. This is the truth. That we do not value this exercising our what lies within our limits. We are only lamenting about what we have not got. And we do not pay attention to what we already have. Abhyasa. There is a word called drudgery. You see, the people who might not have heard that word, you can see that in Google. Simply put, it is called donking. Work like a donkey. Who has no sense? Meaning that even if it is like that, so if that much only has been within your limits, is within your limits, so work that. And these exercising faculties, not to live, to persevere, to endure, to go after it again and again and again and again. This is one secret of spiritual life. This doggedness. And this is how a talent is honed, a talent is created, an extraordinary capability is created. Not without sweating, harnessing yourself and persevering into it. Not without this, you get anything. When I say spiritual life is all about hard work, consistent, methodical, systematic hard work. It might be people find it probably uncomfortable or odd something about. It is working in that field. You choose to work within yourself, within your mind, on and with your mind. It is no joke that when a person has developed a sense, developed a desire, he sees ambition in that field, he can see and imagine a dream, a goal in that dimension, and then he can see somewhat think that I will probably work out in this direction. If there are difficulties, there are challenges, if there are obstacles, I will figure out how to cross them. I will pursue this. Then only sense of working, and then only comes the sense of taking spiritual initiation. Not before that. Abhyasa, the practice. It might look boring. This mind has to yield. That is the question. That is the point. This mind must yield. This mind and your inner capability must cooperate. They must integrate into your will, into your vision. They must go into and find the soul of what you are doing and rediscover and bring it anew. That is what practice is. Not begrudgingly moaning, unwilling and grumbling. Even if your mind is, you put it, you exercise it. That it must cooperate, it must yield, it must give the secrets which lies within. That is practice. When it is done, when people go through hours and hours and hours, they give their soul to it. They forget everything, they lose everything for it. Then only we get something which is really worthwhile at the cost of it. Any person, even if he has followed any routine, anything, any practice sufficiently in his life, you will see that has brought some kind of steadiness, some kind of that element of greatness, some kind of value, some kind of positivity in that person, in those persons. That's why discipline is something so important. Practicing it again. This is what once this quote of Bruce Lee. He said, I am not afraid of a person to fight with who knows that 10,000 different different strokes of their fighting. I am afraid of the person to fight with who has mastered one stroke, the 10,000 hours. It is difficult to beat that person. That is the secret of life. You want gold, you have to dig. Without burning yourself, you can never have that something which could be envied by gods. You can never have that. You want something extraordinary in your life, you have to make it, you can make it. You have to burn yourself for it. That is the thing. You take one idea, that's what Swami Vivekananda said. Leave that idea and die for that idea. Pour yourself and lose yourself completely into that idea. Become that idea. And that's how you become somewhat immortal. In that sense. You attain the divinity, something extra human. In that sense, in that field, in that limited context. This is how what we say contentment, fulfillment or higher pleasures of life. This is what Abhyasam is. That you constantly pursue something. So this is one great secret of life, that no greatness can be ever achieved in our life unless we do not pay sufficiently for it. We are having boring, mediocre life. You ask what you have paid for. Have you paid sufficiently? What did you do to deserve something better than that? You ask yourself. That is the secret of life. You want something more and better than that, better from this life than what you have, then you remember you have to pay for it. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.